Hello everybody and welcome back to our ESL One Cologne offline qualifiers here in Katowice. You did see on the B-roll intro a little bit of Cloud9, a little bit of FaZe and the other teams. We'll be seeing them a little bit later on the day as they do play their best of ones. But this next match is going to be an interesting one, no doubt about it. Splyce. We haven't seen hide nor hair from these guys since Austin, and even that wasn't with their full lineup. We go all the way back to Gfinity, where they fielded a full 5 roster team. So we'll have to see what they've been doing in the meantime and in the build-up to this event, and their opponents, of course, will be Gambit Gaming. They qualified second through the European Minor, and of course, they're the ones that picked up Bondic from Flipside. Interesting stuff, very, very interesting situation. Be interested, again, to see how this is all going to work out. We're going to pass it over to the analyst desk so they can tell you how interested they are as well.
Interesting stuff from Mitch there. Thanks very much, mate. And indeed, we've got ourselves a big one. Now, this does actually feature the man we were highlighting in the previous matchup, Bondic. The absence of Bondic in Flipside now present within the ranks of HellRaisers, Vendetta, and now Blue are joining me to talk about this one. And I think HellRaisers will be our first port of call, gents, because, yes, I know there is not much to say about Splyce, Blue, and you'll be sitting there, you know, clutching at straws,
hype, man.
doing your best.
Hype.
The Splyce hype. Okay, well, we'll come back to that.
What? Where's your Splyce pin? I don't
Is that a liquid pin I can see all the way over there?
Yeah, it is.
Already got that spot in the major.
Yeah.
We'll then need to remind you all about how.
I don't have any other N18 pins.
So. Well, that's basically him making a play to try and get as many pins sent to him as possible. Moving swiftly though into HellRaisers. Let's talk about these boys because if you actually look at these names, there's one name in particular that has stood out just as you kind of cast your eyes over the 5, and that's going to be Oscar. I just want to start with our discussion with him, Vendetta. This is a player that a lot of people are claiming to be, you know, in the same kind of vein as Simple, as this mad player that's only got more potential ahead of him.
Yeah, and probably not only Simple, but someone like Nico, for instance. And he's kind of done the same thing for HellRaisers as Nico did for Mousesports in many ways. So kind of catapulted them into the fray and into, you know, being a competing side, even versus the better teams in the world. And he's just been playing better and better. I think he's, well, barring Star Ladder a couple of weeks ago, his land stats have been out of this world. It's just absolutely absurd to the point where you don't really understand how it's possible. And, well, he seems to feast on lesser opponents as well. So
see, that's the criticism. I've heard people criticize Oscar by saying, okay, yeah, his stats may be great, but they're not against the best teams. But then he continues to do it.
Yeah, he does it versus really good teams as well. And, well, you know, now they're going into this matchup as favorites, which should just kind of trigger Oscar even more to the point where he's just like ready to go, and as soon as he's got the money for that op, he's gonna have a show. Like, he's gonna make a show for us.
I think we're gonna be enjoying seeing him perform to blow up. And another name as well alongside them is the youngster Zero, who I've actually seen a lot of whispers about him being in a similar vein. It does seem like HellRaisers as an organization has always been known for nurturing up-and-coming CIS talent. You know, if you have a look at the players that are played under that tag, it is illustrious, that's for certain. But I guess we'll move then to your friends, Blue. Nice and quickly, your friends over from North America, the snake, the Splyce.
I mean, the big question for Splyce in general, as Mitch mentioned back up on the stage, is like, well, like what exactly have they been up to in all this time? Because we just haven't seen them since Austin, and that wasn't even with the full roster. That was when they had Freakazoid and Summit filling in for them at that point in time too. So we haven't seen it, and the reason why I think Summit comes into the picture too, for anybody who like isn't fully aware of that, is because Professor Chaos has been wanting to sort of toy around with the coaching role a little bit, and I think they've been actively sort of looking for a full replacement for him so that he can go to that coaching role. So he himself is not even feeling like fully confident with his in-game abilities, and that leads to another issue with this team in general, is that when they don't bring the strats to the table, you would normally rely on like individual fragging power, but they don't even really have a whole lot of that. So
they have Davey.
They have Davey, but okay, that's like one player.
Yeah. Okay. We're trying to bring in something positive here, because it feels like it's going to be pretty tough going for them.
I mean, we've just literally gone through HellRaisers. We've literally named Bondic, Oscar, Zero. Now for Splyce, you're sitting there going, Davey, I guess?
I mean, no. Davey definitely like can bring a lot of power to the table. We've seen in the past too, Ari's had some pretty good runs for himself at LANs, and Jason R as well, although Jason R, I feel in the past couple of months, ever since like Pro League has ended, he's definitely stepped down quite a bit, but he was definitely one of their main driving forces, at least in their online games back over in Pro League.
Well, the map veto is ready, and that's going to be a huge part of how this one does go down. Where will Splyce find the levelest battlefield between these two? What does feel like a bit of a mismatch here on the desk?
Well,
what do you think?
They definitely want to get rid of Dust 2.
Okay.
Just from the get-go, Cash is also a very strong map for HellRaisers, so obviously we don't know what Splyce have been doing during their downtime, but I don't think they've got practice enough to get up to a level of HellRaisers on these maps.
No, that's another issue in general when you look at Splyce, is that like they don't really have a very big map pool. There's only a very small number of maps, like I would say like Train and Mirage, where they can contest some of the bigger North American teams.
Well,
but
goodbye Train.
Yeah, pretty quickly knocked out. Of
What's
course.
next?
Because this is the one map that HellRaisers refused to play. I think they played it once in the last 3 months or something like that. There goes Dust 2 as well. So already, I think, one of the bigger maps for Splyce is already out of it. And well, at this point, Splyce, all they can do at this point is pretty much veto to lessen the pain.
Right.
It is a bit weird to see like a North American team banning out Cash, since most North American teams seem to be like so proficient. That's like the home map, but it's weird with Splyce because they're actually one of the few North American teams that actually are fairly weaker on that map. So when you look at it from that sense, it's not too strange, but still for a North American team, it is still very weird, especially in an international matchup where they would feel a little bit more comfortable on a map like that.
You said Trainer Mirage, right? Well, both of them were taken out by HellRaisers, and that leaves, well, it's going to be Cobblestone. And actually, it was a map that we weren't anticipating to see so early on in these best of ones, with the banning down to 1, often it's purged at some point or another. But Cobblestone is going to be the pick, and you said soften the blow. I feel like this may not have worked out for Splyce, Vendetta.
No, it wouldn't have worked out for Splyce in any case. Okay. But this is definitely not something to be super happy about. But what can you do? It's easy with this, with banning down to 1 map. It's easy for HellRaisers to take it your strongest. I think they feel confident being better than Splyce on any map really that's thrown out there. So. Yeah, Splyce just have to make the best of it, but this should be a pretty easy win for HellRaisers.
Now, if you're not too familiar with the scene, Blue, you may be sitting there saying, okay, you guys are beating up on Splyce. Why are they even here then? Could you maybe outline the story as to this upset journey that got Splyce to being sitting in the top 8 of bottom 8 of Columbus?
It all comes from their miracle run at the last major qualifiers, where their group, which I mean, when we look at it, what's even crazier too is they weren't even supposed to be at that qualifier. It was supposed to be the Mongols in their place at that point in time, and they ended up dropping out because it was such short notice. MLG had to find somebody really quickly, and they just ended up going with Splyce. So they grabbed them up. They go to the qualifier. They're in a group with SK, CLG, and I forget who the other team was, but they only had to play CLG and SK, and because of the current format that was in play there, they only had to win those 2 best of ones. They beat over CLG, which was a bit of a surprise at the time, but the big surprise was actually them taking SK to just swipe through. So they made it there. Didn't really see too much of an impressive run at all in the major. They get destroyed by Fnatic, and their other matches just go pretty poorly as well. And now, well, because of the fact that they were in the major, they still get to come back here, but now they've got to prove themselves once more, and it's going to be a little bit harder this time, as you need at least 3 best of ones to make it through.
Yeah, 3 best of ones, and these opponents as well. We have to readdress just how stacked this tournament is. I mean, yeah, okay, CLG, SK, those guys may even struggle versus the caliber of teams that are present at this offline qualifier. So the odds are stacked up against Splyce. It's kind of a tough tale for them. They could be one of the first to go out, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, I think we said it in the pre-show as well. Splyce, one of the teams that's just going to have a rough time. Fluffy Gangsters and Empire, probably the 2 others to follow suit. So don't see too much of a limelight here for Splyce to shine in.
Okay, so let's find the bright light. The silver lining is the power of HellRaisers. That's where we're going to take this, right?
Davey can play well and make himself attractive for other NA teams.
Okay, so he's kind of selling himself at this point, but HellRaisers, these guys have a real shot at that top 8.
Oh, absolutely. With the way they've been playing as of late, I think it's they should be regarded as one of the favorites to actually qualify, and they're going to go probably, or should be able to get off to a great start here. And starting off 1-0, feeling good about themselves going into day 2 and so on. So, yeah, no, HellRaisers I definitely expect to see in Cologne come next month.
Because they haven't been necessarily particularly loud. I mean, we said Splyce have been off the radar. HellRaisers haven't necessarily been blowing our minds either, wouldn't you say, Halvor?
No, but that's partly because, well, obviously, a lot of the leagues, I guess pro leagues and whatnot, are ending, and HellRaisers, had their resurgence or their surge into the top echelon. It was so late that league invites have already gone through all that kind of stuff. But they've been going here and there on tournaments. They were, as I mentioned, at iLeague. The Star Ladder tournament as well, and got off to a good start. Eventually fell to Virtus Pro, but and Navi. But it's no shame in falling to those kinds of teams, at least not at this point.
That is something that, depending on the way that the games may end up working out, is that may have to worry about as I get later on into the event. Though, is going up against some of the more higher echelon teams that we do have here, like G2, like Envious and whatnot. They have to go up against them. That's going to be a much larger challenge for them that, like we've already seen in the past, like go back to Starlight iLeague. They weren't able to beat those higher up teams like Virtus Pro and like Navi, and that goes right back to the struggle of, okay, Oscar, we don't really see him performing at iLeague against those big teams.
So this is actually a real platform. Not only is it a platform for Davey to kind of just do a little bit of a dance and try and get an offer from an NA team, but also it's an opportunity for Oscar to demonstrate why everyone regards him in such a kind of a high tier of CSGO players. Looking forward to seeing what he is capable of with that AWP. We're almost ready for the knife round, of course, reminding you that it is going to be going down on Cobblestone. It's going to be starting in just about a minute's time. So I want to maneuver in towards, not predictions, because that's going to be quick. That's a quick process. So instead, let's just quickly talk about back to Davey and his abilities. Now, this is the same story always. It's like, okay, one player stands out in a rather meek team. Is it not just because he's a little bit of a rough diamond in a kind of team of not so beautiful gems? That's a really, really awful analogy I've gone for there.
One diamond
is there
in all the coal?
Diamond in the rough, diamond in the coal. There you go. That's one. We'll stick with that. So is he not a diamond in the coal, guys?
I'm not really sure. Maybe compared to his other teammates, he might be regarded as it. And it's not to try to throw shade at the rest of his teammates, but he has been performing the better out of them. So I think it's just pretty obvious that you're going to have to highlight him if you want to find any sort of highlight to bring out from Splyce.
Like when you look at the team in general, there have been good moments for a lot of members of Splyce. Like there's all 5 of them, we've seen them show up in certain matchups. But the thing is much like in our last matchup there, where Renegades is so inconsistent, they have the same problem in that everything is so inconsistent. One map we could see a player going off, and the next map we don't see anything from him whatsoever. And that's a big issue with a lot of those sort of lower echelon North American teams that often come into the picture there. And I think that's going to be one of them. The reason we highlight Davey is because he doesn't really suffer from that. He's much more consistent, and we almost always see him he's near the top of the scoreboard.
So not necessarily a mind-blowing player, more of a case of just having the mental fortitude necessary to be able to perform consistently.
Yeah.
Something that actually is a criticism we weigh on a lot of North American pros.
But not just North American, just a lot of the up-and-coming teams, they struggle with consistency. So if you can find someone who actually has consistency within a team, that would, I guess, deserve praise, because it's not the easiest thing to do, and that's what most of these guys struggle with. That's why we keep talking about players with a lot of potential, but we don't see enough, like JKS, for instance. So if he found the consistency, then you could take that next step. But until then, it's always going to be us harping on about them finding a consistent level where they can perform.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were critical of the move made by Bondic, abandoning Flipside, a team that's made every single major, and going to this HellRaisers roster. So he must have identified that there is a lot of potential on this team. You don't make a switch like that half-hearted, unless of course there were some clashes of personalities. I don't know the full deal there. But the fact that he's made that move to what is undoubtedly on paper a bit of a lesser team results-wise, I mean, that's a good sign that Bondic sees potential. You could be on the rise very soon.
Oh, absolutely. And there's also something about the old Flipside had been playing together for quite some time. Getting new impulses if you're struggling with finding motivation to actually play and put in the hours that's required to actually maintain that kind of a form and actually continuously qualify for the bigger tournaments. If you struggle with that, then maybe a team change is what is needed for you. And in Bondic's case, I think it's more, the alluringness of actually being able to play with a guy like Oscar, who can absolutely go off, and you can kind of just sit back and just enjoy the show while he does all the work for you. But it's also interesting, probably, to be kind of a mentor to young guys like Styko and Zero.
Yeah, and those are a duo as well. Like we have kind of alluded, we've forgot to mention Styko because, of course, there's so many big names, it seems, in HellRaisers at this point in time. But he was someone that was catching our eyes a lot when he turned up in the Pro League. Do you remember there was these kind of few weeks when Styko just turned up and they were like, holy moly, holy cow, this guy. And everyone criticizes both him and Oscar as being these FPL players where actually they bait and they pick up these kills, but without actually necessarily being a team player. That's a criticism that's even been thrown at Simple at times. But there's a place for a player like that, surely. If you're hitting the shots, you're going to start winning rounds, even if there is a baity nature to your style of play.
It depends. Obviously, there's positives with that playstyle and negatives as well, because some players thrive off of it, just getting frags and getting into that zone, and sometimes they're able to carry a team on their back. But the problem is, again, if you don't really get into that groove and you can't get anything else but that big kill, then you're really not doing anything to actually improve your team or help out your teammates at all, which is going to make things deteriorate pretty quickly. And I think that's why you see a lot of people, why it has a bit of a negative connotation next to it when you call people, a baiter, or I guess in that case an FPL player, or an FPL, yeah.
Well, that's where he was found, right?
Or just a mixed player.
Roaming around the fields of FPL, and they were like, hang on, this guy seems pretty competent with the AWP, let's grab him. And he's done nothing but grow and done nothing but thrive versus these top tier teams. But again, it does fall into that discussion. We had the same kind of thing with Simple as well, where we're just kind of saying, yes, he's great, but if he can find that place in a team, and something that Simple struggled with, maybe Oscar. I mean, I keep drawing parallels between the two. I don't want to I don't want to run away with that for too long, but that is something that we've definitely noticed a trend with Oscar, and the criticisms weighed in on him. Now, time for the knife round. Let's see where this side does go. We're almost ready, though, for this to begin. It's just our second game of 8 best of ones today, so you guys better be strapped in and ready for a whole lot of Counter-Strike. Up next after this one, we'll be seeing Cloud9 versus Empire, so perhaps another mismatch as long as the North Americans have got themselves plenty of sleep. And we are ready to see which side will be chosen. HellRaisers, Splyce. It's definitely a mismatch, and now HellRaisers are looking to start with a little bit of a bang.
Yeah, so if you're Splyce in this situation, where do you want to go if you actually win the knife?
I would say CT side actually to start off. One of the big hurdles that oftentimes these teams struggle to get over, especially in North America, is doing anything beyond just like your usual B executes on the T side. It's a lot easier to sort of let your opponent play into you instead on that CT side and start off, see how you can do from there, and then gauge that as you go into the second half on the T side, where maybe things are a little bit easier, like fragging wise and just getting onto the sites. But it's also a little bit harder for a team that is not so rehearsed in this map to bring that little bit of extra pizzazz tactically to the table to actually allow you to get into the sites when they figure out how to block your default B takes, and when you try to fall back from those B takes and rotate over to A. Those are like there's like the 2 or 3 main strats that every team uses, and it's very easy for a team like HellRaisers, I imagine, to counter that out. So I would say they would want to stick on the CT side.
Well, I mean, the option was given to HellRaiser. We'll see whether you do choose to take it. And to guide you through this game, our second best of one of the day, it is going to be Pansy and Natu. I had to think about that one. Pansy and Natu are going to be bringing it. You see the cogs turning. Who on earth is in those chairs? It's Pansy and Natu, and they're ready to bring you our second game.
Very much, Alex, and he almost forgot about you. I'm sorry, Natu. I'm sorry.
So disappointed in you, Alex.
You've hurt his feelings. He's a sensitive soul.
I am.
You were downstairs there with him like 5 minutes
I know.
ago.
I
and
thought
it's
we were
just like,
buddies. I thought we had a lot of history, but
No.
apparently we don't.
No, it's all over in an instant. Just gone. But yeah, let's get to topic before your heart breaks even further.
Yeah.
HellRaisers against Splyce. They summed it up saying it's pretty much a mismatch. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 teams here with really different stories at the moment, to be honest. HellRaisers on the rise right now. They came second at the EU minor, and they've been playing quite well, considering the fact that they actually haven't had a lot of time to practice with bonding now being added to the lineup. They were at the SLTV finals, losing to both VP and Navi, but still the showing was decent, and I like the way that I've been observing behind them a little bit when they were playing at these events, and LMBT taking a really active role as a coach. He keeps reminding everyone of what they're supposed to do, all the nades they're supposed to be throwing, all that stuff. So I don't know. I like the dynamic they have, and also the individual skill that they have on the team. Oscar, I think, is the obvious one, but also Zero and Stiko as well, especially are some young talented players.
You look through that entire lineup. There's incredible amounts of talent there.
Yeah.
So hopefully for them, clearly Bondic saw something there, went across from a historic lineup for him at least. Joined them as well. So yeah, there's a lot to be seen from this lineup. This is the perfect opportunity for them to start it off. Splyce, again though, who've kind of shied away from the limelight for a little while, occasionally came out with, I guess, more well-known players jumping in or streamers jumping in for them than their actual results. Yeah, oh, the Molly.
Literally burning.
Oh, the Molly. Yeah, that was great fun. 1G's up in chat for that. But yeah, let's actually talk about Splyce, because it was said on the desk, but they do have some good players, but then again, it's very hard to break them apart from the packs. We just don't see them as often.
Yeah, I mean, they're the odd one out in this team in this tournament.
Yep.
I mean, along with the Fluffy Gangsters and Team Empire.
What a name!
If you're totally honest, these 3 teams, you could doubt it. Do they honestly belong to be in this kind of a tournament? But they are here, so fair enough.
Point,
and it's all in their own, the way they've did it at the MLG qualifiers in a miracle style, like the boys on the desk were establishing. So I mean, definitely they are worthy in that way. But I don't see them having a long tournament, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously they're going to be here for Saturday, considering no one's going out before Saturday.
No one can leave before then.
But I can't really see them picking up a lot of victories here. Obviously, now, this is kind of an interesting territory we're getting into. It's going to be Cobblestone as a map where HellRaisers is not, it's not a map that they have as a go-to map, but that's the beauty of the fact that we're actually going to be vetoing all the way down to that map that we're going to be playing instead of any randomness included, and the fact that HellRaisers doesn't have such a stacked map pool. It's the 3 maps, it's the Dust, Hue, and Cash are, I think, the obvious ones that they like to play, but then beyond that, it's a bit of a, also Mirage, and then beyond that, it's a bit of a
throw in
you know, you don't really know what you're getting into. So I guess in that sense, Splyce is getting into something where they should be able to be competitive, but when you look at the lineups, you just have to side with HellRaisers. They are simply just more, well, they have the bigger or higher skill ceiling.
Yeah, there's no disputing that there at all. And the weird thing is that both these teams have beaten Virtus Pro and lost to Optic on this map not too far away. So it's kind of a weird comparison, but then again, Virtus Pro, if you really want to talk about them, we could be here for hours, but let's not go into that one.
Because the match is actually starting,
yes.
So let's get into this. It's going to be Splyce starting on the T side. So Blue was saying he wanted to see Splyce getting the CT start first, but I actually disagree. I like them to be on the T side. They get to dictate the pace of the play. And they got to be wary of HellRaisers' aggressiveness. It doesn't matter what map it is, HellRaisers is going to be throwing the first 8 rounds or so. They're going to be super aggressive. So that's something Splyce needs to be ready for.
Let's see if that comes out this round. It looks relatively standard. Angel and Oscar just going for info out by A, but they found nothing, so it's all going to be coming down towards the B site. And already going pretty well there. The CT side Sticker's been doing the work, has been able to back away. No one punishing him. A bit of an extended fight that was kind of curious to see go down, but the Tech-9 does reign supreme as Abe was made to be the raid boss. But now HellRaisers on the retake, landing some very crisp shots here. Bear in mind, Zero's the one with the kit, so he can always come back into this. And it looks like, well, they're going for a bit of a stack there in towards drop.
I think they were trying to boost up here, but it's going to be Abe getting that shot before getting traded by Oscar. So that's a 3-on-2 situation. Both all the T's are on the plateau here. Chaos. Well, he's bringing the chaos for sure, getting that kill into Oscar. And now it's a 2-on-2. The positioning right now, with the smoke going down, though, should be favoring HellRaisers before Chaos once the game comes in. The defuse is going to happen, though. That's going to be Zero getting it, and HellRaisers with the 1-0 lead.
That was a bit of a messy round to start
That
with,
was
let's be honest. It was like, oh, it looks really good. There's like a diffuse in the smoke, but you actually bet you're like, wow, there's a lot of shots that just, woof.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fact of the matter is Stico actually survived way longer than it was supposed to. He was the only one in B, and that was a straight-up push from Splyce with a couple flashes into the B bomb site. But Stico, like I said, managing to stay alive as long as he did, getting that 1 kill, and letting his team rotate back in, gave HellRaisers the opportunity to take that one.
And looking at the buy up here coming out from Splyce, they're going all back into this, but this is just an all-in rush again. This is just straight out towards B, and look how far back HellRaisers is sitting, maybe expecting Tech-9s possibly, but there are rifles on board, which is worrying, so keep your eyes towards Davey and Junior. That'd be Jason R at the point, and now it's Chaos going to be pretty much doing what he did before, getting up close and personal. This time does get the tag, but Sticko still finds room to work just outside of that smoke, but the damage is being done here. Both teams down to 3, so no one really carving out an advantage yet, and well, Jason's being pressured left, right, and center here. Davey's the one to find Angel at least, so they do have the 1-man advantage and a decent setup here. Exactly,
and Stico down to 15 HP, so that's going to be making things even worse for them. Now they're both really low on HP, so that's pretty much done for. Splyce is going to equalize the scoreline. Davey getting the kill, that's almost sealing the deal. Stico still going for the fight and going down, but what a fast-paced round for Splyce there. HellRaisers is not throwing a lot of pre-nades, no mollies obviously, thrown into that B-long, and Splyce taking full control of the situation, just plowing into that bomb site and trading effectively. And then obviously the held advantage towards the end of the round was massive, so they had an easy job of holding off that potential defuse from HellRaisers, which is never even close obviously, but good job there by Splyce, and they have really upped the tempo here in the beginning of this first half.
Well, this is what you said. The HellRaisers is known for aggression themselves. They like that CT side aggression, which is very hard on this map, bearing in mind. But if Splyce just run at them enough, the aggression can't do much. It's not about finding out the info when they're already on the site. There's not much more to be done. But coming into this one, looking at the buy-up, really not a great deal there. They've actually got head armor, to be fair, and a nade and, a couple of upgraded pistols. But this round it's going to be a tough one, especially on this map.
So it's a good, I think playing fast-paced in the first round is good for the psychological game, because that's going to force HellRaisers to use a lot of those nades in the beginning of the rounds, because there's always the danger of your opponent just plowing into that bomb site. But this time around they opted to go for way more just a slower strategy here. I think it's obviously going to be a smart move. You see HellRaisers force buying a lot of the times in these kind of situations, and that's exactly what they have. And Oscar being the one that doesn't have an armor, but he has a deagle.
So, again, Splyce, as you said, taking this one pretty slowly. Have to be relatively cautious, because you can easily get picked up and maybe some of these guns can become recoverable. Davey's doing the job he's supposed to do. He's got the Mac-10. He's meant to be leading the way, just building up that bank. He's kind of disposable almost at this point, but there you go. He's now down to the rifles, which you really don't want to be losing. Abe, however, split through drop pretty comfortably. No one there to challenge. He already picks up Bondic. The site's theirs for the taking, and there's the lockout. And now what? Professional Chaos is pretty much just holding the back flank, and you've got a pretty comfortable plan. And Oscar, well, has just the deagle.
Exactly, and it makes a lot of damage on Abe. He's down to 12 HP. Has to fall back. I think Oscar might have realized that, but decides to just hang on here in connector and try to get some cheeky kills to cause a bit of an economic dent onto Splyce's bank, I guess you could say. Well, he's not getting all too much right now. They know he has a deagle, and they would probably prefer him not having one in the following round, but what a great round from Splyce altogether. taking things very slowly and just using their grenades very effectively, as Abe is going to get that last kill to make it 4 surviving from Splyce. And that's always going to be great for their economy, meaning that they will not be in danger of having to eco. At least if they lose one, they can still buy one more. It's always going to be good to have that buffer going for you.
Yeah, this is very good stuff. This is the perfect beginning for them. Davey, the only one who really lost out in that round, just rebuys onto the Mac 10. So again, they can just keep farming this up. This is very impressive, and I like the pacing. I like the way they've come into this. I like the fast pace on the initial ones, so they've been slow it down there, be a little bit more cautious. A little bit of a different approach coming out now from HellRaisers as well. 3 players towards the A side of things: Zero, Bondic, and Oscar. 2 up by Long, 1 cut up by Danger by the stairway, and then just Angel and Sticko just, I guess, sitting out on B.
I know there's going to be a lot of pressure going in the following round, though, for HellRaisers. They don't have a lot of money, so they won't have a lot of utility, or they will have to buy lesser weapons. He might be surprised here. It's going to be Oscar pushing a little bit. He has Bondic there to help him, too. They've been taking the smart move, decides to fall back. Oscar getting the information, he's going to take the peek, but decides to fall back. In this kind of situation, when you don't have a lot going on as you decide, you have to take these risks, try to push a little bit, but then if you can't really get much out of it, fall back and stack one of the bomb sites would be the best option to make.
And I do like the way the T side's responding as well. Splyce, they kind of tested out on A. They saw maybe 2 players along. They're maybe not sure that was 2 players, but they've got certain presence there. So Davey kind of flexes out towards drop, tries to get presence elsewhere on the map, and that's perfect.
Hello.
That's absolutely perfect with the Mac 10. Finds 2 players, removes them from the site. Oscar's kind of snuck his way through, but by now you'd assume the other players on Splyce will check for this. You'd hope so, at least. And there, Davey's just fine.
Only concern I have with drop is against Ecos is the fact that it's so short-range battles. So that's when the P250s or the 5.7s or CZs even can be really effective. But it doesn't work great for Davey this time. Only Zero and Bondic left to alive with P250s, and they're just trying to get some exit kills. Bondic and Davey going merry-go-round here.
All the time.
Hitting a kill on the Zero, and Bondic going down too. That's going to be, I think, 4 kills
that's
for Davey. Was it 8? Oh, it was ace, yeah. It says up there. So that's going to be a lot of bank for Davey. Going further, he's sitting at 8.7K. And like I said previously, this is going to be a very stressful round for HellRaisers for the fact that obviously they're 1-3 down now, but they don't have that much. Well, obviously they have a FAMAS now, but they opted to don't have any hurt armors going on for Angel, Bondic, or Stico, or Zero. No Molotovs in play at all, and just 1 grenade.
And this is kind of the danger. Look how aggressive Splyce were originally. You said a big counter to that, a way to slow it down is to use those early nades. If you come back in with a very fast play, it's incredibly hard to hold back. And look at it, straight away you've got, I think that's Abe trying to get through that smoke to get that platform presence, which already Sticko and Zero look like they want to challenge a little out here, but Boost not going to be gone for this time. They're just going to be watching the push out. So again, quite a hard one to hold here. If those flashes are on point, it's going to be incredibly difficult, but actually it works out very well for HellRaisers, and a little bit of a sloppy execute. Sticko's just gone ham. He gets 3 back-to-back. What on earth just happened? How is he allowed to do that? Abe's replied just fine, but by now that is just unbelievably sloppy play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why didn't more than 1 player go through the gap, and then Stico using that to his fruition, coming up through that gap, getting all those 3 kills. Now, the lack of Molotov usage as well from Splyce, costing them, and that's going to be the round going HellRaisers' way.
And the thing is, that I love that from Sticko, considering he was in a bit of a tough spot. When you see those mollies coming over, you see everything coming over, you're like, okay, they're hitting the site. What can I do here? I'm kind of in a one-and-done spot almost. It's very difficult to put more together from that. But to take the advantage to go in there and just absolutely tear them apart was quite impressive in a way.
Yeah, I mean, good setup with the smokes and everything for Splyce, but then the actual commitment to go to the bomb site was just lackluster.
Yep.
Stico being in one of the most common spots ever, close to that B plateau, making 3 kills, unacceptable.
A little bit worrying, but let's see what he has to do now. This time I'm going to opt for the little bit of a boost up. I think he spotted Abe, then possibly, I think he saw him on the side of the box, so aware that already this could be the same play coming through again. Sticko and Zero readjust. No one goes aggressive this time, and they don't need to. Already Angel finding Davies, cut off the 1 approach from drop, but this is good from Chaos. Takes out Zero. That allows them at least down towards platform.
Problem is, though, the smokes are trying to evaporate, so that's going to be a lot of cover taken off. And Oscar getting those 2 kills. Stico chiming as well. It's not going to be the bomb. Just get dropped. Not going to be planted. Just JR being the last one alive. So the problem with the way that Splyce is approaching this is that they're not getting any control of the bomb side. JR, though, connecting on the Bondic, but 11 HP left, being on this plateau. 3 CTs remaining. It's not looking pretty for him.
No, and Oscar's already going around for the flank. He wants to get that AWP away. He's on the long route around. And even just seeing JR still here gives enough info to keep going on this.
Yeah, I mean, he's just hanging around. 40 seconds left here before Stico gets the kill. And again, just a weird one for Splyce. They throw all the smokes, but the whole point of those smokes is to try to take over that bomb site. Instead, they just go on that B plateau and they go for the aim duels, which I find weird. Then when they actually do come into the bomb site, when they don't find anything, that's when the smokes are evaporating. And then that's when all the cover is lost, and it's so much harder to get the bomb down.
Yeah, logic didn't seem to apply to that, really. Sadly, it seemed to be a little bit missing. Again, though, as you said, it feels like they've kind of dry run it almost and gone, okay, this kind of works. But then when you practically try it out against teams who will win those aim fights, it doesn't go so well. You kind of have to either play to one or the other. But let's see what we have coming into this one. Splyce, though, their buy is far from perfect.
Yeah, I mean, teams are so disciplined on LAN as well. I mean, maybe online that can work. People are taking overextending peaks, and then you get the openings, and then it gets easier. But on LAN, in this kind of a tournament, you're not going to get a lot of that. Oscar, missing on his first shot, decides to fall back, but it's going to be Angel to get the first kill, but gets traded by Abe. So that's going to be a 4-on-4 situation with minute 15 left, and obviously always favors the T side, as the CTs will have to make some kind of a risk. As I say that, though, Davey just going down the drop and getting a kill, so, well, it's back and forth, isn't it?
It's actually really impressive from Davey. He's been doing quite nicely this game. Again, I think Blue pointed out that he's one of those players that can get a couple, a good bit of attention towards him, and he's certainly doing just fine himself here. But lurking out of drop, again, a lot of timing to it, a lot of kind of individual intuition, just how players play themselves. But already you can see the read coming through from HellRaisers. They know exactly where Splyce are heading towards. 40 seconds left. Let's see if maybe the T-side can do it better with them. They actually have no smokes to play with. Actually, they have two. Tell a lie.
Yeah, they have to.
They haven't put them down at all. They're going to take the fights again, and while that's only gone so well until they met Zero, they trade out eventually. And that actually goes in their favor. Now it's Bondic left in the 1v2. Bomb planted. One up on the platform. He shouldn't be allowed to come back into this. The crossfire should be pretty primed, but actually he finds room to work. Stunning shot towards JR. And now you've got a 1v1. And I think Bondic knows exactly where Professor Chaos is, but he walks right into it. Just takes a swing out, and Professor Chaos hits the shot. Well played in the end by Splyce.
Yeah, that's the first time we see Splyce just trying to get some map control, and they trade effectively. It becomes a 3-on-3, which is a very winnable situation for T-side. Going to that B bomb side, what I found weird was they played sort of in the favor of Oscar all the time, who was with an op in that B bomb side, but he misses the first shot, and that's how the B bomb side got opened up. Now, obviously, Bondic with a nice 1-on-2 win, taking the 100% correct angles there to win one round for his team. Rather, giving the opportunity to win a round for his team.
Why are these shotguns coming into this match?
That's interesting, isn't it? They're force buying, and it's going to be HellRaisers going
on
here. Oscar.
Well. Of course it does.
Yeah, why not? That's going to be money in the bank for Oscar, but yeah, it's a force buy situation for HellRaisers here, obviously.
Can we just talk this through? He took a shotgun on long and it worked. He's like, on A long, I can't afford anything else, so I'll just take this shotgun here and it'll be just fine. Why doesn't the jumping Mac 10 work? I don't understand it, but thankfully that doesn't work out for Davey. But HellRaisers keeping perfect control of this round, taking it away from, the fact that the shotguns on the plate, which are still doing damage. Oh, Jesus Christ. This game.
Are you melting down already? We're round number 8.
and it's game 2.
Cassidy's done for, and it's game 2 as well. That's a good situation to have here.
Melted.
But yeah, Splyce is going into those battles one by one. There is no one to trade off any kills. And it's going to be easy for the CT side when you're just not keeping the distance between the players, or the gap between the players short enough for trades to be possible. So it's going to be HellRaisers winning that odd force buy. And now, as we can see, the economy for Splyce is not pretty. They have to save Oscar through danger, getting that first goal. I think he noticed pretty much all of the T's coming in. Oh, he's going to get another shot on the area as well. Quick 5-on-3.
That was actually really nice. I love this readjustment, how he just backs away from it. He now leaves Angel in a perfect position to do damage and decides that, Angel, do you know what? I liked you were doing damage, but I will kill you too. Just adds more to it.
Camaraderie, that's what it is.
That's it, you took my kills. Get
wrecked.
No, sorry, just get wrecked.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done that before. It's like, I can't feel bad for it, but 5-4 right now. And look at score-wise, a lot of teams still argue that you can get very good T-sides built up on this, so you want to see Splyce doing well, being competitive, I guess is the best way to put it. But again, this was a mismatch, if you look at it on paper, so you expect that HellRaisers should be doing better, but it looks like now Oscar's on that orb. We're starting to see that control coming in, and that gets worrying. Yeah,
the early kind of a fast-paced game play from Splyce seems to be long past now. They were not able to make it work as well as they wanted to. Now they've opted to go for the default kind of a slow approach, but he made his way down the drop, but it's going to be down by Bondic, so early advantage for the CTs of HellRaisers.
And this is kind of, not, I guess impressive is the wrong word, but it shows strength in the way they put pressure, or I guess they trust Oscar a hell of a lot, considering he was literally doing the solo job then. He was sat there on his own by it. There was 3 players towards him. He didn't overextend, he didn't overpeak. He's taking damage now, exiting out of middle, but he did more than enough to hold that by himself, which is actually really nice to watch. But again, now you can see the bit of a rotate coming out. I'm not sure if Angel heard that, but already you can see Bondic, Zero starting to kind of line themselves up perfectly waiting for the speed play. But again, this is a very slow round from Splyce, showing they do have some versatility to their playstyle. It looks like a quick hit towards drop. They could easily split towards A still, but let's see how they take this one through.
Yeah, quite passive approach from the CTs, though. They're going to be playing the bomb side lidding. Splyce come through that drop. He's going to spot one. He's going to get dinked and killed by Arya. It's a good entry to the bomb side, but look at the HP on the terrorist side. Very low, but still they're going to be in a 3-on-3 situation, making a 3-on-2. As Professor Chaos getting killed on the Bondic.
They're just taking straight up aim fights, and sometimes it's working out. It seems inconsistent, but I guess if it starts to work, it starts to work. But the problem is you still have Oscar and Angel here on the retake. Angel's timing is just kind of sucks to be him, but he still sprays down, finds Professor Chaos, punishes him for running in with a Tech 9. And now Arya left in a 1v2. He has 8 HP, but the bomb is planted, and no one's seen him yet, but you can work out the likelihood of him being in a spot like this. And he takes the fight, he misses it, he doesn't get it cleanly, but he tags up Angel. Now timing is everything, and it's going to be working towards Oscar's favor in the end, and there's the defuse to follow. Splyce, you know what, they're making this incredibly close. I didn't expect them to get onto the site like that.
Yeah, now this time around, the trades were effective. They kept their distances short enough for them to be able to do the trades, and obviously hitting their shots. And while there are certain teams that can do this, they're usually around the top 5 in the world. So I'm sure Splyce, you probably don't want to opt to do that all the time because it's not very consistent, but it can work every now and again. But they do get the bomb down, and there was a possibility for them to get the round. It's going to be HellRaisers coming out on top. And this time, Splyce decides to force by. They're plowing through mid. Oscar, there's an opportunity for multiple kills, only gets 1. And Chaos and JR getting the kills to return to make it a 4-3.
And they're doing well off the back of this, actually, Splyce. They've recovered the 2 guns pretty quickly, and they're running with it, but now they need to do the damage. But Sticko's already there and waiting. Finds Arya to follow up, and then it was just pretty much down to JR. 1v2, 1 minute, 20 seconds to work with the bombs. Recovery was a strong word, because Bondic's already out by the side. So this is going to be pretty tough, actually, for JR, but he's got the orb to work with, so I guess maybe.
He needs to isolate this into 2 individual one-on-ones because of the HP and because of the weaponry he has. Is he going to be able to... I think he's going to see... Yeah, it's going to be a spot, and Bondic gets that. Now it's a one-on-one against Zero, who's on 100 HP, has all an H2. So he needs to hit some mad shot here. Or get the timing correctly.
He's got a good idea, and he's got the timing. Oh, if he... And now, does he check to the right? He sees the gun barrel, and there you go. 6 stuff from JR, 4 kills coming through for him. And, well, you said it perfectly. He had to find 2 individual 1v1s. The first one, I wouldn't say was given to him. He found that. The second, I guess, was just, okay, where would the crossfire be placed? Yeah. And, yeah, works it out.
Exactly, and he sees the weapon for the last remaining HellRaisers player, obviously the barrel of the weapon, and that pretty much seals the deal. It's going to be the Tech 9 armor buy going away of Splyce, and I think that's going to put a little bit of pressure on the HellRaisers with their economy. Yep, they're obviously bought into this. They have an op. It's still limited equipment, and if they lose this, they're definitely going to be on safe round. And it's going to be a fast speed push coming here from Splyce. Those pre-nades working in the favor of HellRaisers possibly, though. It's going to be a 5-on-4 before the bomb side is going to take it over.
And Zero giving himself that smoke pretty much, giving him a little bit of room to work with, denying the right side push-up, but Professor Chaos has taken the other side of things with Davey, and it's worked out just as well. Down to 3 players, Sticko's the only one with Oscar to be doing the damage back, and actually, again, the segregated push down towards the side itself is causing trouble. Professor Chaos is the only one out right now, and he's not finding much luck here, and there's still Zero on the site. This is becoming increasingly difficult, but it's still working out, surprisingly. No one from HellRaisers punishing this yet.
Exactly, that's what they're hoping for. They want to get these duels, and they're winning them. It's a 3-on-2 situation right now. Zero all the way down to 7 HP as well. But Oscar connecting onto Professor Chaos, but he's not going to expect that Abe is going to be so close. He's going to get the kill, and that's going to be HellRaisers' economy down the dumpster. So this is the possibility for Splyce to have quite a decent half here. Considering T-side cobblestone, you're expecting to hit that 8 mark around on that T-side.
Yeah, and I'm actually impressed with Splyce. It doesn't feel consistent. That's the weird thing. It feels like such kind of highs and lows almost to how they play. It doesn't feel like you could bank your money on it, but sometimes when they do that kind of crazy play towards a site that shouldn't necessarily always work out, it does. They land the shots. They do come through with the goods, which is actually really cool to see. But again, I don't know. It's hard to read into that as I guess reliable.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the B hit is, like we said, previously. So just spoke off and then try to get some free aim duels. But I would like to see a bit of diversity there, where they have a version of that strategy where they actually plow through that bomb side and apply pressure after the smokes. And also, I want to see a more systematic way of trying to gain control towards the middle, isolating that side hall and middle with 2 smokes. And then maybe go around danger, trying to see if there's any aggressiveness from the CTs and that kind of stuff. We haven't really seen all too much from, so it's being kind of one-dimensional. But it's it's been 6-6 obviously, so still chances for Splyce to be a part of this match. And eco for HellRaisers, so potentially looking at 7 for Splyce.
This is the thing, yeah. We keep wanting more because they're showing potential here. It's just the scoreline's actually not that bad considering how arguably one side of this matchup should be. They're keeping up. They've got the money in their hands this round. They shouldn't be outdone by pistols, especially like that, Abe. That's not great, but then they should be able to power through the side very comfortably. Zero's going to punish 1. What the hell is going on? Zero's found 2. Sticker's found 1. This is sloppy as hell and ridiculous to watch. JR, you better save the day here, and he can't do it. There you go. Angel shuts it down. And I guess these are the dangers that we talk about when you become... I don't even know what to say about that. That was...
I know what to say about it.
Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, I think there's a few words I could say that are probably better not to be said. But to explain basically what horribly wrong there for Splyce is the fact that it's okay to go to that B-bomb site. It's okay if there's a lot of CTs there, but use the utilities you have. Smoke off, the obvious choke points, and Molotov all the corners to flush out any potential CTs to make them uncomfortable. And then keep the long-distance battles. I mean, this time around actually benefits you just staying on that B plateau.
The one time.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily do it that well. And obviously the lack of grenade usage was, I think, the biggest hindrance in their approach to that bomb side. And, yeah, HellRaisers getting a free bomb. But now, well, it's going to be 1-for-1 trade. Oscar trying to connect on the guy going to the bomb site. Not going to connect. Bondic making some damage and just staying here on this balcony. And it's going to be the bomb side lost to Splyce. The bomb goes down, but still, obviously, the amount of equipment HellRaisers has and the weaponry they have, they should be favored in this one.
Yeah, and Sticker can be a bit of a threat in this, bearing in mind he's going right up back towards mid, and no one's actually watching this just yet. Professor Chaos occasionally taking a peek towards it. Now everyone knows where they are, but still Davey finds 1. This is a curious retake. Going 1 by 1 is not exactly what you want. They don't land the shot cleanly. Oscar, though, plows in with a 5-7, and I guess fight fire with fire or pistols with pistols at that point. But now down to a 1v1, JR up against Sticko. Sticko knows where he is. He's going to hear these steps, but JR finds a gun, but can't do much with it. But time was pretty close then.
Yeah, it actually got really close, but he's going to make it just in the end. And yeah, that became way too costly for HellRaisers. I think Sticko just jumped the gun a little bit there, coming up from the slope in mid. He could have just easily scoped, seen what's going on the players on that bomb side, but instead he just fires instantly on the first guy he sees, and he whiffs the shot. And whoever was towards that car area, I mean, he managed to evade for a while, and then obviously time was wasted from that bomb, becomes a 1-on-1. But in the end, it's going to be Sticko to save the day for HellRaisers, who have now picked up their 8th round, and they're going to be victorious in this first half.
Yeah, they're starting to look a little more comfortable. And that's a very good sign for HellRaisers. Oscar, when he starts performing, this guy is ridiculously good, let's be honest here. So if he's starting to play well, that bodes well for the T side. If they want to go for that AWP there, he can start making an impact once they switch over. But for now, T side again, giving a lot of control there towards Drop. Davies having pretty much free reign to do this, which is kind of unnerving that he's been allowed to get that far with no one looking towards it.
Yeah.
Does punish Zero, and that looks like a real issue. Now he's made more of this. This is incredible work from Davey.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have issues working in this drop area, so HellRaisers have opted to have a very passive approach to it. But I mean, you should probably watch the 2 entrances that it has, otherwise your teammates
at least 1 or 2, you know.
Yeah. I mean, your teammates are going to be in a lot of trouble if you don't. Now, Davey, with the 3rd kill of the round, is going to make it 4. He's not. Sticko is going to be able to retaliate. Also gets Abe, and now it becomes a 2-on-2. But still 50 on the clock. There are some utility on this T side too. Sticko going down to 15 HP, so situation in HP-wise favoring Splyce.
That nade.
Ooh, that's money.
That's perfect. That's just a slam dunk right there. And now Arya, see if he can make a name for himself. Left in a 1v2. 26 seconds to go.
I mean, the best he can hope for is go through. I think, well, he could go through drop. That's the best I bet he had if he wanted to rotate, but this has to go back.
Angel's considering it.
Well, yeah.
That's worked perfectly. He's pulled them away.
Now, again, he's going to be able to have 2 individual one-on-ones, but I think Sticko's going to hear this, and he's going around here and might be getting a free one. He is. It's going to be 9-6 here in the first half.
Yeah, 9-6 on the first half. HellRaisers looking pretty comfortable after a while. They started to warm up a bit, it seems, but that was closer than I expected already.
Yeah, I mean, the first few rounds, obviously, Splyce applying a lot of pressure. I feel like they should have probably picked up the pistol round as well.
Yep.
What did they?
I can't remember, actually, tell a lie.
Too many rounds.
Well, it went back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. HellRaisers did. And then they still kept going at it, just plowing into the B-bomb side, basically playing the psychological game of early on aggression towards the B-bomb side to try to make HellRaisers spend a lot of grenades in that B-long area. But in the end, it was just obviously that one round when they lost the eco going to B-bomb side. They should have been the one winning that half 8-7 or 9-6. So it was that bit of a misplay from them that cost them, well, essentially 3 rounds.
Well, we'll see how much that impacts them into the second half, guys. We'll be back after a very short break. Alrighty guys, welcome back. We are now moments away from getting that second half started up. 9-6 on the half in case you missed it. HellRaisers there do manage to lead the way in the end, but Splyce showing that they do have a little bit of something to bring to the forefront here.
Yeah, glimpses of hope we're seeing from Splyce. Yeah. I mean,
that's as much as you can give, is that
it? I mean, then a horrible collapse in that anti-eco just kind of killed it for me. I mean, they should be the ones leading this right now, but instead, they're going to be on the back foot, sitting at 6, and it's going to be pressure applied from HellRaisers on the T side as well. Going through the drop in the connector area, going to get overwhelmed, but has Professor Chaos to help him out. And somehow they stay alive for way longer than I was expecting, but then they go down. It's going to be a 4-3 in favor of HellRaisers who are going towards this A site.
Oh, and Sticker's in such a good position here. He's managed to stay back himself and almost whiffs a completely free shot and then doesn't expect another. So, okay, this game is a little topsy-turvy. And now Abe's got a chance. Apparently bringing it back to a 2v2 now. What else can they find? JR's been pretty much unspotted. He has a complete bit of freedom here. And, oh, the timing is unreal. JR's going to be gutted about that when he watches it back. And if he missed the shot, it would have been even worse. But does land it towards Bonding, now leaving 0 in the 1v2. Smoke to hand, no armor, and a Tech 9. He had to land that shot. Abe punishes. The defuse will come in. And Splyce have a good shot at bringing this scoreline back all even now.
Yeah, that was a weird one towards the end there. But it was, yeah, a lot of aggression shown from HellRaisers going through that drop. 4 people just plowing into the connector, going to that A bomb site. It's a 4-on-3 situation for them. Entering the bomb site, everything looked great. But then in the end, it was Splyce coming into it. And JR with a bit of a flank there. Danger, suicidal. Eventually they pick up the round. It's going to be the pistol rounds 1-1, so both winning 1. So that is obviously good. You don't win a lot of games if you don't win any pistol rounds. So now both teams have given themselves an opportunity. If the statistics have anything to do with this, seems like it's going to be Plow coming in from HellRaisers. They don't have any armors though, and they've pretty much used all the utility. Area being pretty much the only one on bomb side, but Davey with the auto shot, getting the first kill. The bomb's getting planted though.
Davey, why be the man to do this to me? I was desperate for a kill. I can't find anything through the smoke. So now, at least they got the bomb plant, I guess, but this wasn't exactly a cheap investment. There was a fair few pistols and a little bit of utility brought up here. Not too much in the end.
Yeah, I mean,
they get a plant.
Yes, I think they will be able to buy into this following round. I'm not sure they're probably not going to be taking an op unless they take a glass cannon, but they will have utilities and a case to play with. So it does enable them to buy into this round number 3 of the half. That is exactly what they're going to be doing. AK-47's already been bought. We'll have all the smokes, all the Molotovs they would need to be able to make an execute towards that B bomb site or try to gain control of the middle playing a default. So let's see what their first approach is going to be like.
Yeah, so far.
It is going to be Oscar Knob.
Yep.
With the glass cannon.
Straight into the glass cannon. He did start playing incredibly well towards, I guess, the later part of the first half on it, but again, a bit of a not risky investment sounds a bit harsh, but you know, still a big investment to go for here. And that shotgun again actually might have room to work if he'd got the spot. And I don't think they saw each other then, but incredibly close.
He's literally trying to sniff that smoke to see if anyone's coming through.
Someone's just been vaping up on the platform, you know.
It's not fighting too much. Stiko was playing around it, but decides to fall back. This is going to be that mid control established by HellRaisers. They get it quite easily. Angel just going through danger here, and it's going to be joined up with a couple more. It's actually 4 of them right now towards the A bomb site. Still a minute on the clock. The bomb is down quite far back, so a lot of options are still into play for HellRaisers.
I actually do like the fact, though, that Splyce are keeping hold of a fair bit of their utility. They're not, you know, instantly using everything. They still have a good few mollies left, a couple of the smokes to play, and, of course, a few flashbangs as well. So playing it quite calmly, and I like the spot from JR. JR spot, if you crouch down, you get a nice little kind of like just a headshot angle to work with pretty much. And it's actually really nice to do, and it's quite hard to check because you expose yourself to the rest of the A site when you come around that corner. But Angel removes his support. That means Abe's gone, so it's down to JR to do something with this. Now he gives up the ghost. He shows exactly where he was, takes the extended or wide swing fight towards Bondic, loses out instantly, bombs on the site, and the last 3 players for Splyce are completely locked out.
Yep, this is definitely the time for them to just fall back and try to save their weapons. I mean, you have 2 CTs on that A bomb site. I would rather have them focus on one of the areas. Either it be middle or either it be side all. Instead, they're kind of trying to play both and take it individual one-on-ones. And it definitely did not work in their favor. That's going to be HellRaisers picking up that round with ease. And I think at least one of the CTs are in a lot of trouble here, all the way up in that T castle. Davey here, just hanging out on this ladder, just waiting for.
Gonna let down his hair, you know, chill out.
Yes, especially with that helmet on.
I don't need you to be practical about this now, too. Way to be Finnish. This is not funny. This is not practical at all, Lauren. That doesn't work.
Not in my world.
10-8, Splyce. Okay, they keep a few players alive so they can kind of reinvest around it. So they're not on, you know, completely bad terms, and there's still a shotgun just to really make me so happy about CS sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a bunch of players. I know Alo likes to use the auto shotgun, for example.
The things that actually works. You know, Edward's done it, Pasha's done it. If you play by the kind of broken part of the platform, it actually works very well.
Yeah, it does.
So as much as I give it grief, it does kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the beauty and the beast kind of a situation in this game, isn't it? I mean, sometimes you love it, but other times you're just like, I want to kill myself watching this. I'm just kidding, obviously. Not literally.
Finnish humor again.
Yeah, there we go.
Real cheerful on that one. But on long, we do see at least 2 players pushed up for the CT side of Splyce. They do have them screen a little bit of a crossfire here. JR whiffs it and hopes for help, but Abe just gets absolutely trashed. Bondic's plowed through that. Quick smoke down towards the door. That's going to at least maybe help these guys to cross. They actually double, if not triple smoke it, I think, by sheer accident. But the bomb's going to be crossing over again. And again, the same 3 players, if I'm not mistaken, left over towards B.
Yeah, you already see Bondic and Oscar are on a mission to try to hunt these saving CTs. Also, Stiko and, well, pretty much everyone is pushing this B-bomb side. It's going to be another battle going on the B-bomb side, but it's going to be the CTs coming out on top. Well, as I say that, Stiko going to be able to get JV, who does dig Stiko, but that's all he had from it. And now 2 in that drop room. It's not going to be easy for them to save. Professor Chaos might be able to get Stiko. He does through the tree. Now the rest of the remaining HellRaisers members also on the hunt. So Arya and Professor Chaos, they're going to have to fight for their lives. Ooh. He's made his way towards that A bomb site and no one's there. Does he have a defuse kit? That's my question.
He does. Oh my god. No, no. I'm about to tilt off the face of this earth. Why is this allowed to happen? Arya's a beast. Okay, Arya's barely got any kills but can pull that off. Are you...
Well, that happened then, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
They're going to have to fight for their lives. Oh, he's defusing the bomb. Here we go.
Look at this, as if this is a highlight replay.
What they said, this is like...
Slow-mo it down with lens flare coming out.
Throwback from CPL 2005.
Oh,
when Spawn
God.
of SK at the time tried to do that, he was already being happy about it, just chanting and everything, but obviously didn't
go so well.
It didn't go as well as that did. So it's great to see 11 years later it's finally happened on Cobblestone as well. And that's going to be the, well, a round you would not be expecting to go the way of Splyce, going the way of Splyce, but Zero opening things up on this B-bomb site.
See, now Arya now tasked with the hard task of actually hitting a shot. Struggles a little. The fuses, though, in like 1v3s or whatever it was, very good at. Now, Bomb's going to go down, and the site is kind of in control of the TC. They've got a good little wrap on it, considering Angel's around the back as well, which is going to be a massive factor towards the end, as JR and Professor Chaos can't really focus anywhere until they clear him out. He can just be a constant nuisance.
Exactly. Doesn't really need to do anything, but there he goes. Angel's going to be down into 2-on-2 situation now. So we're on the bomb side of Oscar with that op. He's going to get JR, now leaving Professor Chaos with that Max 7. And Oscar with another kill. It's going to seal the deal, and it's going to be around going the way of HellRaisers, and I think economy is going to be an issue for Splyce, and I'm spot on. It's going to be 3 players sitting at 1.6, 2 1.6, and 1.4 for 1, so that's double eco territory for 3 of the Splyce players, and yep, this is HellRaisers showing how it was supposed to be done to Splyce on that B-bomb side. Smoke off the obvious smokes to create a wall of smokes in between connector and the bomb site, and then use the Molotovs, flash in, and plow in that bomb site. Commit to that push. And make sure you're taking the fight to the CTs. And it worked perfectly.
Yep. Maybe Splyce can just keep that in mind. You know, this is the first game for them, bearing in mind. You know, it doesn't mean they're done and dusted. It's not over. It is that Swiss format. So again, getting wins under your belt is important, but you can always kind of bring yourself back through it towards the end. And Splyce is putting up a good show here so far. I think the HellRaisers overall look far more refined and just playing, I guess, almost basics better in a way. And you can see it kind of reflected. Yeah, exactly. Kind of reflecting this until Stiko makes a bit of a meal of it, but in the end does come out on top. And there you go, closes down towards the end. But yeah, it's not about the individuals. As you said, the fundamentals seem to be working a little bit better. They're playing the sites as you'd expect, kind of building these rounds off the foundations of what you should be seeing. But then again, Arya still did manage to do a ridiculous defuse on them, so, you know.
Yeah, that's a round they didn't necessarily deserve, but they got it anyway. So, I mean, it's a round no matter what. And now Stiko's looking to throw an interesting smoke here into T-spawn.
Where the hell does that go?
We will find out momentarily. I think it's going to the connector. Yeah, it's going to... Well, we don't want to see the rest of it. Come on, Rush. The push is coming into this drop zone into connector.
That gives them the perfect A split.
Oh, I think they were trying to smoke off. Oh,
yeah,
okay. There we go. That's the smoke. And, well, as we've been babbling about a smoke, it's become a 2-on-1. JR alone against Oscar and Seiko. And the bomb is down in connector. He's now picked up an AK-47 as well. So it's all to do for him here. I guess the big problem for him is the fact that there's a lot of grenades in hand of these last 2 remaining HellRaisers players.
I kind of like the way he's playing this in a way. He's kind of backed himself away from it, not just trying to take the instant fights, just... He knows that he probably can't withstand the instant, as you said, all that utility, but actually I don't think they saw him come out that window. He's got a great chance then, but no, Stiko just denies it in the end, recovers the AWP and, you know, will shut down the round. But I actually liked his approach to that for a little bit of time. Sadly, it didn't work out in his favor, but again, 13-9 now. HellRaisers are starting to really stretch their lead here.
Yeah, and now it's a make or break time for Splyce for sure. They finally get to buy fully into this one. As I say that, Professor Chaos does have a Mag 7, but it's a weapon that we see a lot of time in competitive play, so it can work in obviously very short range battles. They have an op on Arya as well, so pretty much all they could need. The only thing they're really lacking is defuse kits. One of them in play. And again, it seems like HellRaisers are going to be trying to enable some... Well, it's going to be Stiko just going into the B-bomb side, actually. He gets destroyed by Professor Chaos in the area. And becomes a 5-on-4.
Okay, so 13-9. A good position here to watch the push route. Does catch Angel. And the two players up long now have to take on two. Actually, Abe's still standing. Kind of didn't seem to be in the original plan here for HellRaisers, but as I said, what can they do around this one? Still over a minute left here, and Bondic, how? Why?
Well, yeah, question is, Abe, did you just shut off your brain and decide to run middle?
Just free lobotomies are being given
out,
out,
a 5-on-3 situation. That's when you fall back and let the terrorists do the decision making. Instead, you just, well, I'm just going to run middle and die. Why not? Triggered. Yep.
It's like Tumblr over here. Oh, but no, that was... you can literally see everyone else. You can look at the positioning right now. Look at JR, look at Arya. They're all super far back. Even Professor Chaos and Davey, pretty far back. So it's kind of curious that Abe would do that. You know, there's times to get information. There's times to play to catch rotates. That was not one of them. So
definitely not. That was the least of the times to do that. Now that leaves an opportunity for HellRaisers. Still have plenty of grenades to work with as well. Just one smoke though, and that's what being thrown out. But it's going to be obviously Oscar, 100 HP and AWP. So a lot of things can happen when this man is alive.
All right, so it's down to Davey. I guess Aya are the closest to it to do the work, and that's good for Aya, who's been a little bit quiet so far, but trades out in the end for Oscar. Now down to 8 seconds, though. They need to be quick, and what the hell was that shot? Bondic just catches out Davey. They've got a plant off the back of this, and now it's a 2v2. Bearing in mind, Professor Chaos has to retake with a Mag 7. That's awful. And he can't do anything with it. Oscar punishes, and now JR left in a 1v2, and this is going to be an incredibly frustrating round, considering the odds that were against HellRaisers to do that. That is impressive for one for them to do, and a little bit of a letdown, if I'm honest, that Splyce allowed it to happen.
Like a house of cards, Splyce just with the wind out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a 5-on-3 situation. Abe making it a 4-on-3 situation, because why not? And then Riz going to that B-bomb. So like I said, Oscar, when he has an AWP, a lot of things can happen. It became a, I believe it was a 4-on-2 situation at best towards the B-bomb set as well. And still, it was Oscar doing the work, and that's going to be 14 now for HellRaisers, and a full force buy for Splyce, who have a auto shotgun, a Mag 7, a Scout M4, and a FAMAS in play. And while they've stacked 4 in that B-bomb side, it could be the right call too.
Look at Sticko's position.
Yeah, that's quite conservative.
He might actually catch Arya as well. Just took the shot quite early on that, I guess, so Arya ends up being able to back away tagged. So both of them are tagged up to similar HP, but everyone else, you can see Bondic kind of falling back as well to kind of just make sure that no one can push up and play around the back, because actually Arya doing that has brought out that actually there is almost no on A. So you can almost assume that they were at least expecting to go for a B hit here, but whether or not they still do, yet to be seen. And it was Sticko Smoke, the one that lands towards the doorway, so again they could fall back to a split towards A, but pretty dangerous against a buy like this.
Yeah, they're making their way, but Davey is going to be up close. He's not going to get anything out of it though. Angel with that Max 10.
They're rotating.
They are deciding to rotate. It's going to be the Angel left here. It was a full-on fake. Arya though, he's going to be ready, getting that first kill on the Sticko. Makes it off 4-4, but he's going to be under immense pressure. And before he does get some backup from JR, I believe he is, into the spawn as well. Arya decides to just jump up and tries to get some shots going here, but he's going to get overwhelmed by Bondic. Has 0 on that A-bomb site.
Maybe he thought JR had his cross, but not the case at all. JR's now going to work pretty much uphill from that point, but now down to Abe. Left in a 1v2, otherwise this will be HellRaisers getting to 15 against 9 on Splyce. So already has 2 to his name. I have to get the 4K here, which not all that likely have played out correctly, but there's been weirder things done in this game already.
Yeah, well, he might be able to get something onto this guy on this bomb side, but Zero, being smart about it, decides to fall back. Not letting it become 2 individual one-on-ones. Not happening. Bondic going to be sealing the deal to give the match point to HellRaisers. And economy still is going to be in shatters for Splyce.
Poor old Splyce. I guess that's the thing, you know, it's...
Literally, poor old Splyce.
Wow. Your memes are strong today. But no, let's be honest here, Splyce have made a couple of mistakes. A couple of rounds have actually really impressed us. Some of their approaches were incredibly cool, but this looks like that A-split again. This is the smoke that goes down to the doorway that allows them out of the drop room incredibly fast. They don't have to worry about people being able to spot it, and they can isolate the players kind of playing between that connector area, which we're seeing right now. Davey and Professor Chaos having to play around it, but Davey does, excuse me, it was Professor Chaos and then Davey to find the kills. But it's those shotguns again, which are absolutely ridiculous. Thank you, Valve. And now Zero has to take on 2 players over by. He isolates one. And now Abe gonna be actually able to get a bit of a cheeky 1v1 here. This could be quite imperative. I don't think they realize he's this close at all.
No, probably not, but oh, he's going to get that kill. No kit on him, though, so it's going to be a 10-second defuse. I don't think he's going to have time to do this. Also gets blinded, so he needs to take his battles. He's going to go down to Stico, and that's going to be a 16-9 win for HellRaisers.
So, yeah, 16-9 in the end. HellRaisers, I guess that game was...
It was quite competitive, I could say.
It was competitive, I think is the best way. It wasn't close, but it was competitive.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of small mistakes. I mean, when they build up and you're playing a team that is just better than you, I mean, it's not going to work, obviously. They should have had a 9-6 or 8-7 at least on that T-half. But again, it goes down to that one anti-eco round where they forgot they had a lot of nades, which they could have thrown and get an easy entry to the bomb site instead. Just go in and get raked by pistols. So, I mean, you know, the small things, when they build up, that's what happens. You lose games.
Yeah, and HellRaisers look good. Individually, they look good. We've seen some quite nice nuanced plays. I know that smoke got everyone excited seeing that coming over, some really nice set pieces. Hopefully we get to see maybe more of a challenge later down the line, but that's what we thought of the match. Let's hear what the analysis desk thought of the match as well.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that smoke, that little play, actually kind of working out to an extent until the shotguns did turn up. Vendetta, Blue, let's talk about this one. We doubted Splyce on the desk, and it does seem like our doubt was justified in this battle between HellRaisers and Splyce.
Yeah, no, Splyce actually got off to a better start than what I imagined they would. Obviously, they lost the pistol in the first half. Lost the pistol in the first half, but they kind of bounced back from it. Started actually, finding some openings with heavy B aggression early on. Then they had a bit of an unfortunate round where they lose an anti-eco right after you're sitting in the green room, and everyone really was complimenting them on how well they were actually going about their anti-ecos, only to fall flat versus and the next anti-eco coming up, and after that everything kind of just went out of control. It kind of played out the way we would have expected it. Slightly worried for HellRaisers though. They didn't look as strong as I would have expected them to do versus a team like Splyce.
You're nodding, Blue.
I feel like this entire match was just like a very long string of mistakes from both teams. If I'm being completely honest, a lot of very simple mistakes are being made. Looking back at Splyce for a moment, there were quite a few situations where on the initial battles of the round, they get an advantage. They count like 2 or 3 players, but then when they actually go to enter on the site, they're not watching flanks, making very simple mistakes like that, and they just get traded right back down, and oftentimes end up losing the round after they get an amazing start. A lot of situations like that happen in quite a bit, where you wouldn't normally see that happening in a team that's a little bit more drilled for those sort of situations.
Yeah, and it would have expected, Splyce to be somewhat more drilled because they haven't had the busy schedule of having to go to tournaments or having to play a lot of official games online, so you would have assumed that that time has actually gone into practicing fully.
Well, after the first half, we were actually saying, okay, maybe time well spent. They were looking okay.
Early on, absolutely. And then whether it's the team not being prepared or if it's down to the fact that they just make individual mistakes, which happens. Sometimes an individual will have an idea of their own that they just follow through on. That doesn't quite pan out, but for the better part, it didn't look too nice for Splyce.
One additional point I'd like to raise. Now, you weren't surprised by Aria's result. I was. He had something like 6-7 frags towards the end of that game. That's a typical performance in your mind, Blue?
Yeah, I mean, for most of Splyce, and I think Aria definitely underperformed for what I'm used to seeing. I mean, most of those guys, you don't really see any huge players that are just like dropped down entirely, but that one for Aria was a very, very weak performance, and we have seen those over the past couple of weeks, and especially considering too this team hasn't really done anything competitively, that does raise an issue now as he sort of gotten soft over the past couple of weeks.
It's certainly a potential option. And then Cbble as well, you really do have to rely on that AWP sometimes, and he did not provide for Splyce, and they do concede their first loss. You lose 3, and your chances of a major spot are gone. One, though, does go the way of HellRaisers, and actually we have our beautiful Australian host standing by with, I believe it's their coach, LMBT, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to go ahead and give us some words on how HellRaisers feel about their first win.
Thank you too very much, Alex. You're too kind. I'm here with LMBT, actually the coach of HellRaisers there as well, and it was a game that no one really knew what to expect, I think. I have to ask, did you guys know what to expect? How do you study a team like Splyce, who hasn't played with a full roster since the Cbble finals at Gfinity maybe almost 2 months ago?
Well, anyway, core stays the same, so probably call stays the same, and we know exact map that we will play, and we don't really care much about how they will play. We just take basics, and we was planning to play just our game. But it was a shaky match for us anyway.
On that note, I don't want to dwell on the negative things a little bit, but it was quite an interesting round 19, where you were in a 3v1 situation and Arya managed to sneak to that B site and A site, sorry, and defuse the bomb. You were in communication with the team. You can hear what's going on. What actually happened there?
Well, that's what I'm telling about. Some small, it's not small, but some shaky mistakes that you usually don't do even on any proc or something like this, but we done it this much. Like, we lost this round in 3v1 because of info, basically, because the info was like 2-drop, and we lost 3 forces in first side and stuff like this, but it's just the first match, I guess, nothing special.
I mean, you're not the only team, even the winning team, that has encountered some weird situations as well, so it's probably nothing to write home about. Let's talk a little bit about Bondik really briefly as well. Obviously, he being to the newer addition to your team. It's pretty clear to see that a lot of you guys, the CIS players, are very close with each other. You know each other quite well, you're quite friendly. So how much of a difference does it actually make putting Bondik into the lineup? Was there a growing process required at all, or did he just slot right in?
We just slop right in, because as soon as he get to lineup in 2 days, we was playing Cbble and finals, so he don't have any time to came in, you know, to feel the team and stuff like this. We have only 1 week of practice before this Katowice qualifier, and it was our only practice for this 1.5 months. So we're kinda happy that we have time finally for it. But he is doing quite well. He has some other roles, and sometimes he doesn't feel it so good as he used to, but I guess time will come. We just need some time, maybe 1 more month or something like that.
Well, it's quite something for a player to be able to slot into a roster straight away and at least be able to fulfill his role there. So I hope he's not too disappointed. But thank you, LMBT, for the interview. Good luck to you guys for the rest of the next few days. And of course, we're going to go to a break now, guys, as well as we do ready up things here on the main stage. We are going to be switching, of course, back into the arena for this next one. It's going to be Cloud9 going up against Empire here in a best of 1. Don't go too far.